Frank and Jurgen still with us. Jurgen, what did you think of what Ange Postecoglou had to say there about the top four?
I think he's absolutely right. Obviously, you want to achieve the maximum of what is possible, and they started off very, very well in the beginning of the season, and they dropped a bit. Now obviously they are in this race for the fourth spot, because fourth spot it takes you to the Champions League, and that's the creme de la creme, and that's where you want to be. You're football wise and financially as well. So I totally get his message, and he's ambitious and he wants more. He wants to build something very special at Spurs. And he started that process from the beginning on. And by the way, he communicated that he wants to play attacking-minded football, because that's the DNA of Spurs. DNA of Spurs is go out there, dare and do. I mean, you got to go and give it a shot, and rather score 5 goals and concede 4 instead of winning just 1-0. This is just Tottenham, and he lives that, and so he lives that job, and he wants to build something special, which I think is in the middle of it. It will take some time. It also took some time for Mauricio Pochettino to get them into the Champions League final. So it's for me, it's normal that he's a little bit anxious and maybe also impatient, because you want to get to things, the fastest way possible. But it will take some time.
Are you okay with him saying that, Stevie?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think he's been a breath of fresh air. I mean, you talk about wanting to play for a guy. I mean, everything he says, you believe. And he's basically saying, what I heard is that all I want to do is whoever my squad is, whoever my players are, I want them to be at their best. As many and as often as I can do that. And whatever will be, will be. Because in football, you don't always get what you deserve. But I tell you what, if you put the work in, and if you believe, and if you go out and give every single thing, then nobody is going to have a problem with it. And at the end of the day, if he does that, then it's up to the people up the stairs to give him better players, to then push on and maybe compete for the Premier League. But I love every time he opens his mouth. You're never left in any doubt of where he's coming from.
I have to say, I'm with Stevie in that Postecoglou really has been a breath of fresh air to this league. I think one of the worst cliches to come into the game over the last few years, in relation to big clubs, is that fourth place is somehow a trophy. While fourth place gets you into Champions League, and maybe that's what your directors want and your accountants want, from the time as a manager, that's your target, that's where you're going to hit. That, more times than not, is going to be a ceiling. You cannot tell me that Pep Guardiola arrived at Manchester City saying, I'm building a team to get into the top 4 and to get to the knockout stage of the Champions League. No. From the time he gets there, at day 1, he's thinking, what do I need to win the league? What do I need to win the Champions League? And goes about his business in building that team. And that's what Postecoglou is saying here. He's saying that I'm building a team to win this league. If in the process of building a team to win the league, it means finishing 5th this year, I'm going to take it. But I'm not going to patch together a team that just about gets me into 4th, because that's not his end game. And for too long, it had been big clubs' end game, and I think it's cost them. Certainly Arsene Wenger said that. I was very critical of him when he said it. But now all of a sudden, it's taken Arsenal this much time to kind of get past that mindset. And now, Arsenal do not settle for finishing top 4. That feels like a failure, or should feel like a failure to them. And it's reflected in their performances and how the club is run.
It's interesting when you guys talk about how it would be to play under him as well, because it does seem to be the general consensus from his players is that it's great to play under him. This is Dejan Kulusevski talking about it. He said, we're not going to win every game. And actually, oh, there's the beginning. It says, everybody talks about tactics and winning, and that's good. But with Ange, it means a little bit more, because it's about you as a person. It's about you as a man and what you believe in. Ange says, I don't care if we lose, because everyone loses in life. If we lose, we're going to lose on our terms. Never go away from being you. We're not going to win every game. And actually, Ange never speaks about trophies. He says, yes, we'll get there. But first of all, we have to become us. We have to find ourselves. Go ahead, Frank.
No, I have a smile in my face when I read that and when I was listening to Postecoglou, because it's like Ted Lasso. We found the new Ted Lasso and the new AFC Richmond club, you know, where everybody's happy. They don't care about trophies. They only want to be happy and win games, playing well. It's what it is, but it's only the truth. And
Ange
I love
put
it.
a bit more
I love
work
it
in than
because
Ted in football, though, hadn't he, Frank?
Oh yes, and he has bigger knowledge than Ted Lasso for sure about football. And I love the guy. I really love the guy. His philosophy of life, where yes, he want to win everything, and I feel that he's very ambitious, but he want to win it in a certain way. And especially in the past, when we saw lately how Spurs were playing so defensively, so being unattractive, now it's completely different. Every game of Spurs, you enjoy watching them. You know that you're going to be a result. Even when they lost against Chelsea, because they were 2 men down, they tried to attack. They tried to enjoy their football and make people happy in the stand. So I love that philosophy. I really wish that will be more coaches like that, because it's an entertainment. We have to enjoy. Yeah, you need results, but in a certain way, in a way where people are happy to watch you playing.
Jurgen, how many goals would you have been scoring under Postecoglou back at Spurs with this motivation and this support behind you?
I definitely would enjoy it. But as Frank said, you know, everything has to kind of fall into space, and it's a club that needs to define itself altogether. You know, that starts up with the chairman, with the boards of the club, with obviously the fans are extremely important, and everybody working in the club to live this type of a philosophy, to live it day in, day out. And then throughout living it, also to develop this extreme hunger, which, for example, that I talked before about it, Bayern Munich has already since decades. Bayern Munich started that process in the 70s with the big team of Franz Beckenbauer, Gerd Müller, and Uli Hoeneß, and so forth. You know, so over the decades, they live this hunger of winning trophies and playing attractive football that went hand in hand. But this is an interesting process now that Spurs is going through with Ange, and I think, yeah, he's able to do that. I mean, Mauricio Pochettino was so close to win the Champions League. I mean, it's not that long ago. So we keep our fingers crossed that they can make it happen the next couple of years.